Got a big ring there.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I got some. Set you up.
All right. Hank's in Haddonfield playing video games.
You gosh darn right, guys. I'm on Haddon Avenue, literally peering through the periscope at my own personal pass. It feels like take two in Goldsboro, North Carolina, Berkeley Mall. Video games, the real deal, the real chassis, back in Haddon, and you can play them too. You don't even have to stick a quarter in them. You can play all day. Madness on the arcade. Coming up, guys, all the details.
Now, the key to that arcade is it's all vintage stuff that you can't find anymore. So, 70s, 80s, we might even go back to the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Let's just start with the 80s, okay? I feel like all those games came out in the 80s.
nah, I think there was some back in the 70s.
Were there? Maybe you got me. Oh, well, maybe you're right with
Pong,
the ones.
You know, all that simple crap, like Pong.
I just felt like we had pinball like back in those days when you go to the pizza joint and you'd have like you play.
I know. Clear it up, Sammy. What decades are we talking about? It's probably not the 60s.
Well, because it's all those Pac-Mans. Because I was a child of that era, so that was my like we grew up with that whole kind of like.
Yeah.
Well, Pac-Man was fancy compared to the other.
Oh, I love Frogger. That is my favorite.
Seinfeld episode. George trying to cross the street. It's early 80s. You're right, Karen, as always. It's always good to have
You sound thrilled to say that.
My dad worked
As
with
always.
computers, and so like, all of that came out when I was like coming of age.
Okay, I'm going home. It's always good to...
Anyway, so the Ram Real Arcade Museum is in Haddonfield, and they would like you to stay and play, Hank.
That's a fact. See, look, Haddonfield hasn't changed, guys. It's still quiet out here on Haddon Avenue, but if you look up at the Ram Arcade, the sign's open right here, guys, and we go inside and time warp immediately into 1985, and you are there. All you're missing is a kid out front with a mullet smoking a cigarette. Come on in, guys. You don't need a change jar. It's the brainchild of Francis Paijan. Francis, look at what you got, man. You got the arcade we grew up with. Tell me about it.
So that's exactly the point. We wanted to grab the feel of a 1980s arcade and get people in to experience all those feelings that they had when they were growing up. And for the younger folks, they experience all new feelings of playing it in the arcade.
It's a beautiful thing, and you got some of my high school classmates in here pounding away at original Space Invaders, original Tetris, original Time Pilot. Look over here real quick. Francis, tell us about the pay structure, at least, because you're not going to pump quarters into these machines. As a matter of fact, if you're as bad at video games as I am, you might even get over. I might even pay less over the course of a day. All I've got to do is pay 15 bucks. I can pay what I want and stay how long I want. Tell me about that.
That's true. Good point. So we have three pay structures. You can come in for an hour for $8. 2 hours of play is $12, or you can be here, like you said, all day for $15.
Sure, and if you look over Chris's shoulder to the left, let me close the door for a second, guys. You've already got your high scores up here for Dig Dug being the game of the week. But let's go over here and talk to Jackie real quick, because she will not stop yelling at the Space Invaders game. Excuse me one second, sir. Jackie, Space Invaders, listen, we've been playing this for what, a couple of years now? One or two. It still gets your blood pressure up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's my twin. We've been having competition. It's great. I love it.
How awesome is this? Were you the chick that I used to look across the arcade at and go, wow, I'd really like to buy her a game of Pac-Man?
You should have bought me a game of Pac-Man.
I should have. I know. It's awesome. What's your favorite down here? I mean,
Galaga.
Galaga is awesome. And I tell you, Donkey Kong is right here, guys. And not to throw Francis under the bus, but I tried to go backward because these are originals. I couldn't go backward. You can still blame the game when something goes wrong. It wasn't me. I'm a high scorer. It was the game's fault, sir. What brings you back to Time Pilot, man? It really does feel like being a kid again. What's your name?
Sure it does. My name's Cliff.
Cliff, what does it for you, man? This is awesome.
I don't know, just the memories of the 80s and the 90s. I like pinball, Tempest, Pac-Man, and like just come back to, back to the past and relax a little bit and enjoy myself.
Yeah, no question about it. It's a beautiful thing. And if you look up, you got neon in the sky. If you look down, you got custom carpets, just like the arcade that had to be reordered again. There's no pizza parlor with surly dudes next door. There's no security guard ready to yell at you. But guys, these are the original chassis, the original games. You can stay as long as you want. And one more thing, again, this is Haddon. You know that France is going to be involved. with all the things going on Haddon Avenue. You got a lot of different community events going on here. And if your son or daughter wants to have a birthday party, you can have that conversation too, guys. Right here, Ram Arcade in Haddon. It's an old school barrel of laughs. Come get some.
Awesome.
I'll be over here.
By the way,
Watch
not
out.
that I want to, a bone to pick or anything, but Pong was the game I was referring to. What year did that come out?
That's on a computer. That's not a game that you played. It's a
Always
standalone
an
machine.
answer.
That was a
You've always
computer
told me
game.
an answer.
Yeah.
It was a game.
Computers in the
It was a
70s
game.
would fill entire rooms up. We
Yes.
didn't even have the, like,
Yeah. Anyway, we found the ring.
I already mentioned the Pong.
We already wait.
Rewind that tape.
Okay.
Rewind that tape.
Is there anybody else that could? Here's